Before I go into today's chapter, there is something I need to explain. For those who don't know, Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle was released by two different companies here in the US. It was first published by Del Rey in 2004 and it got re-released in 2014 by Kodansha Comics. Now, I was originally going to look at the Del Rey version since I have about 2/3 of their copy of the series. However, the volumes that I don't have are too expensive for me to get new at the moment. I would have gotten used copies, but they're all former library owned. From my experience, every time I bought a former library owned manga, they were extremely damaged, covered with tape and stickers, or worn hardcover. So I'm going to look at the Kodansha version. Now, I won't compare the two versions since, in my opinion, there's not really any major difference between the two. With that said, let's start the chapter. The chapter begins with two teens trapped in a glass tube where they're separated from each other by a sheet of glass. Suddenly the girl sprouts wings and is pulled away by some invisible force. The boy screams the girl's name, which is Sakura. We then jump to the Kingdom of the Cloud where a cloaked figure enters a house. It turns out that the cloaked figure was the boy from the glass tube. As he takes his cloak off, he looks at the picture of his dad as he talks to it about this kingdom's ruins. The boy then hears a knock at the door. When he opens it, he gets a hug from the girl from the glass cylinder. Here's where we learn two things. One, the boy's name is Shaoran, and that he's an archaeologist. And two, Sakura is the princess of this kingdom, and that she doesn't like Shaoran calling her Your Highness. Shaoran asks the princess how she knew that he was back. She replies that the rest of the excavation team came to the castle to report about the dig, and she figured if the team was at the castle, then he would be coming home. Sakura then looks at the photo of Shaoran's dad before stating that it's been 7 years since the two came to this kingdom. She was surprised at the time that a famous archaeologist like Shaoran's dad would be interested in Cloud's ruins. After he talked to the previous king, he was allowed to excavate the ruins. However, he died during a dig. Sakura then asks Shaoran why he doesn't live in the castle since he was invited to when his dad passed away. He replied that he feels weird if he lives in the castle since he is a commoner and she's royalty. Also, he makes enough money from the dig to live on his own. The princess tells him that they don't see each other much since Shaoran is so busy at the ruins, and she misses him. However, she knows that this dig is very important to him and his dad. Shaoran comforts her by saying that he does think about her and wonder what she's doing. Sakura starts to tell him something but gets interrupted by the ringing of the castle bells. Apparently, these bells are meant for the princess to return home, or else her brother, who's the current king, will come and get her. Shaoran offers to walk her home. However, she turns down his offer since he's most likely tired, and she lets him know that the citizens of Cloud are kind. Before she takes off, she states that she will tell him what she was going to say earlier the next time that they meet. As Shaoran watches the princess run off, we are given a hint that he may have romantic feelings towards her, but he won't pursue them due to the fact that she's royalty and he's not. We then see Sakura trying to sneak into the castle, but is spotted by her brother Toya. We quickly learn that Toya doesn't like Shaoran when he asks his sister if he was with him, and he calls Shaoran a twerp. Sakura argues that her friend isn't a twerp. The argument gets interrupted by the high priest Yukito. Yukito informs the princess that both he and Toya met the excavation team and listened to the report as he shows her what I believe is the map of the ruins, or rather the parts of the ruins that have been dug up. Sakura is surprised at how far the team has come, and she believes that they would be finished soon. Toya pops her bubble by saying that the team just discovered a new path, and he gave them permission to continue. He then teases her that Shaoran would be busy for a long time. Sakura tells him that it's fine with her since Shaoran is doing something that he loves before she storms out. Once the princess is gone, the priest tells the king that he shouldn't tease her like that. Toya states that Shaoran just gets on his nerves mostly because of the priest's prediction of Sakura and Shaoran being destined to be together. Yukito adds that the teens have hardships waiting for them and that the princess has unusual power that could change the world. When she gets to her room, Sakura is still upset from Toya's teasing before looking outside. She comments on how beautiful the ruins are and decides to bring Shaoran some lunch and tell him that she loves him. She then hears a weird sound from the ruins before getting a weird vision. The next day, Shaoran is looking at some markings in the ruins when he hears the princess calling his name. He is surprised to see her and tells her that it isn't safe for her to be in the ruins. She informs him that her brother is there to inspect the site. Sakura notices the markings and states that she saw them last night. When she touches them, a ray of light surrounds her as the floor opens. Yukito and Toya feel the ground shake. The priests state that this isn't an earthquake. Suddenly people in black appear and fight them. We jump back to Sakura, who is now floating and has some black wings behind her. Shaoran tries to climb up to her. The princess starts to go into the wall before Shaoran jumps and grabs her. He then runs as the ruins collapse around them. We then see a man who's watching the whole thing as a woman tells him that it has failed. He replies that it's just the beginning, and that he will get the power to cross universes. We jump back to Shaoran, who managed to get out of the ruins with Sakura in his arms. Toya greets the team before collapsing due to being poisoned by an arrow. Yukito reads Shaoran's mind after being told that something weird happened in the ruins. The priest tells Shaoran that the princess's wings are gone, as well as her memory. Here's where Yukito tries to explain that Sakura's wings and heart are one, and that they're not in this world. He then states that he's going to send the team to someone from a different world that may help him. Shaoran and Sakura are then transported to another world and are greeted by a mysterious woman. The chapter ends with him asking her to help save the princess. I have to say it's a good first chapter and a good hook to the series. We're introduced to 2 of the 5 main characters and get to know them a little bit before the world gets turned upside down. I like how it's hinted that Sakura may die if she doesn't get her wings back soon. Also, we're not told exactly how to get her wings back. Maybe the next chapter will give us a clue about that. There is also a mystery surrounding the man who wants the power to travel to other universes. We're not given much about him since there's only 2 small scenes where we see him. Now some of you may be wondering why there's characters from Cardcaptor Sakura in this manga. Well, I don't know exactly why, but I believe the clan just decided to do a manga that not only has Cardcaptor Sakura characters, but characters from their previous works. Yeah, it's a little spoiler on my part, but I have a feeling that someone may ask why I didn't address this. Also, I won't point out which character is from what series since I'm only familiar with some of Clamp's work. If you feel like pointing out which character is from what series, you may, but just point out the ones in the chapter I'm covering. Now that's all I have to say. So I'll see you next time on Read Little by Little.